just get into this. We're going to go ahead and introduce our special guest today. Everyone say hi to Stevie. Stevie's coming back to do an awesome show with us. I'm so excited. How are you doing, Stevie?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing good, doing good. Viper says hi. you
Hi,
did time
Pepper.
you did time that very perfect. That was scary. So Stevie, you've been off for a little while, haven't you? What have you done this week?
Um, where do I start? We got a car. I've done appointments. I've done shopping. I've cleaned house.
Ooh, fun, fun. So I have a question for you, Stevie.
Yes.
Can you imagine that you're sitting on a couch in a living room, maybe watching TV? Viper! And then all of a sudden you hear a small knock at the door. When you look outside the window, you see small children. Or if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you see a child walking, trying to hitchhike, would you be scared or would you want to try to help that small child? Thank you, Toxic, for the biddies.
I think I'd be kind of torn because it would probably creep me out a little bit the fact that there's just a random kid walking down the road that is like hitchhiking.
Yeah.
But then knowing me, I'd probably stop and try to talk to them until I realized it was too late.
Yeah. Well, oh, hello there. Oh, it's Italian Stevie. So I don't
I said,
know
"What?
if. So
Oh,
I don't know
I
if it
remember.
was. You do? I don't remember if it
Yeah.
was during this show or what it was, but it ended up happening. Well, hello there, Mad Nines. How are you doing today?
Sorry, I
Um,
keep watching my face because I've got cat fur all over my face.
you are all good. I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
She's wearing a Mystery Girls Inc. Merch shirt. She's wearing the
I am.
one, the very first one, I believe. It's the one actually Mad Nines created it for us. He
The guy to skin them all.
yeah. And I am wearing another one that he created for us. The um, Mystery Girls Inc. Doll Island shirt. That one you have too.
I do have that one too.
um, so I know that you already know about this legend, but the people that we're watching tonight might not know.
Oh no, we got any skeptics out there?
Do we? We probably do. Toxic's probably one of them. I saw that
Probably.
one come through. But
That one still creeps me out though.
what, the mommy one?
Yes.
That one is kind of creepy. It's gotten me a couple times. Like I'm like,
I was like, I've seen Annabelle. It always messes with when the
thank
kid goes
you,
missing.
Gordon. The sub. I appreciate you. Um, let's go ahead and get into it. There we go. I knew it's gonna take a second to. Oh my gosh! I'm gonna turn this shit off. They keep on going and going and going. Watching Twitch and YouTube. Ooh, fun. How that's fun. So, today we're going to get into the Legend of the Black-Eyed Children, or they're known as BEKs. The legend goes that the what?
I said it sounds abusive.
It does sound very abusive, and I think that that's why they kind of initialed it. The legend goes that the mysterious beings take the form of children between the ages of 6 and 16 years old, and they only appear to people alone at night or in their homes. The kids will come in groups of 2 or more and often ask for favors such as making a phone call, a ride home, something to eat, or the use of a bathroom. It is said that black-eyed children are paranormal creatures. No one really knows where or how these creatures popped up. Some people claim that these children have been around since the 1980s. but the first documented the first documented case was from 1996. You know what, guys? You guys are so funny, aren't you? I have 2.1K. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I love that song. You guys are so funny. Anyways, we're gonna get into a couple stories tonight. Watch a couple videos. A lot of these I wanted to pull.
But that is called cannibalism, my dear children, and is in fact frowned upon in most societies.
We were actually talking about that today, Dave, in your stream. We're gonna go over
cannibal.
Yeah, cannibalism, my dear friends, and that is frowned upon.
That's messed up talking.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness gracious. They're going to be the death of us today.
So, about that show.
Yeah, right? Today we're going to go through a couple different stories because first-hand experiences are obviously the best. We're going to also go through a couple videos as well and kind of get your guys' opinion and get some of your insight on it as well, Stevie, because I know you've done a lot of research on the Black-Eyed Children as well. My humps. Yes. My humps. The band, not the... Well, I'm glad that you're wide awake, young gun. You're usually really, really tired. My lovely lady bumps. I want her puffs. Oh my goodness gracious. You better get him. So the very first story we're going to go over today is...
Man, I hope we solve this mystery.
You know what? I'm going to turn that shit off. I should. The very first story that we're going to go over today is the very first documented case. And it kind of, started the whole Black-Eyed Children, phenomenon. So Brian Bethel was one of the very first people to document the Black-Eyed Children. It was around 9:30 p.m. on January 16th, 1998.
Oh, righty then.
Brian left his apartment to pay an internet bill. He stopped by a dollar movie theater parking lot to make out the check, and two young boys walked up to the sorry, someone's calling me on Facebook. Hold on one second. I didn't realize that was coming through my computer. And two kids walked up that looked between the ages of 10 and 14 years old. The first boy had olive-colored skin. He had curly, medium-length hair. And he was wearing a gray sweatshirt with a pair of jeans. The second boy was pale skin with freckles and had pale orange hair. He was dressed in a pullover that was light green and a pair of jeans. So this dude, right off the rip, has really, really paid attention to details, in my opinion. He stopped by to make out with what? Shut the fuck up. It's okay. Oh my goodness gracious. So one of the boys explained that they needed help because they wanted to see the new Mortal Kombat movie, but forgot their money at home. They asked if Brian could bring them to their house to pick up the money from one of their mothers. I got some too today. I did. Brian stated that he almost immediately felt a sense of fear come over him. He found himself unlocking his door without even realizing it. He stopped himself fairly quickly and looked at the children again. He quickly realized that the kids had solid black eyes. They had no pupils, no iris. It was just straight black. He stated it seemed like the children realized that he knew what was going on, and so they quickly started threatening him. They stated, "We won't hurt you. you have to let us in. We don't have a gun. But they had a young gun. I'm just kidding. I had to throw that in there. The kids started pulling on the door and demanding to be let in. Brian quickly pulled his car into reverse and sped home. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Look at you guys trying to kiss up. I'd whoop the shit out of those kids. Why would they have a sex toy? Well, you know, I had to throw that in there. Oh my goodness. Suck up. That was horrible. You guys. Now you're a sad panda? Don't be a sad panda. So people have stated that they've been in close proximity with the black-eyed children report that they have a really uneasy feeling that washes over them. There isn't anything specifically about the children's looks besides their eyes that, you know, makes them scary. But they still feel that report of feeling anxiety, terror when they're in their presence. What were you saying?
I said the black eyes is enough for me.
Yeah, right?
I think they were possessed by something.
Oh my gosh, your dog gave you a black eye.
Yeah. I was trying to pick up my dachshund to put him up on the bed because he's too small. And she came running full speed and tried to jump between us, and her head hit me in the face. And my eyes swelled up and got all black and blue, and everybody thought David did it because...
Oh my goodness gracious. Poor
like
Dave.
a day later, my in-laws' dogs ended up scratching my arm and bruising my arm down my arm. So they're like, "Are you sure it's the dogs doing it?"
It's okay. You can tell us the truth. You don't have to be. Fuck that. She abuses me.
All the time. I mean, not really.
He likes to claim that you do. Right?
He sure does, but he likes it.
Oh, yeah. So our next story occurred in the middle of nowhere in Vermont. Have you heard hold on, let me start by this. Have you heard about the first story? Like, have you ever heard that one? I know that you've done a lot of research.
Not that one. Most of the ones that I've heard of pretty much all involve houses, except for there was one other one. But I don't know if it's one that you're going to tell, so I won't give too much away.
I did have taco pizza in bed this morning. Nowhere, Vermont. I love that place, don't you? Me too. So in the middle of nowhere, Vermont, an elderly couple heard the sound of loud knocking on their door. When they opened the door, they saw two children standing there, a little boy and a little girl. The children stated that their parents will be there soon and asked if they could come in. The kids were settling in on the couch as the wife made them hot cocoa. The husband attempted to make some small talk with them, but they wouldn't answer any of the questions that he had. The wife returned with the hot cocoa and noticed that their cat was scared and hissing at the children. Why is that one behind there? Hello, Mom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14. How are you doing tonight? That was... I don't know why my things are doing that behind. I have to figure that out. Oh.
You broke it.
I did. I didn't put it before my picture on this slide. So she noted that the cat was scared and hissing at the children. The children asked if they could use the restroom. As the wife was directing them towards the bathroom, she noticed their eyes. They were extremely black with no white in sight. She went to inform her husband of what she saw. I don't know, is this Young Gun or Young Gun's mom? Who is that? That's someone effing around with us. Justice for Johnny, indeed. It's his mom all day. So the children asked to use the restroom. The wife directed them towards the bathroom, and then she went to go inform her husband of what she saw, and she walked towards him, and he showed her his hands, and he was having a major nosebleed. This stream is going to be 4 hours long at this point.
That's okay. That's okay.
Hi, young gun. Why are you on mom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14? You forgot 13.
Wow. What?
Thank you for the biddies. I appreciate you. I don't know why my biddy thing isn't reflecting the one that I have put on there, but anyways. The power suddenly went out, and the house turned completely black, as dark as the children's eyes. The wife headed to the restroom and was confronted by the voice of the kids at the end of the hall, uttering, "Our parents are here." The kids then exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The wife then noticed that there were 2 men at the end of the driveway. The men were very tall and slender. The wife waved, but did not receive the same friendly gesture. The 2 men and children then drove away in one car. My notifications haven't even been working. I wonder if it's something going on.
She blocked you, that's why toxic.
Hey, no judging. Is this your hidden Twitch account, just like how Nick has Sweet Cheeks as his? So the power came back on a little later after the kids left, and throughout the next weeks, weird things started happening around the house. 3 out of the 4 cats went missing, and the 4th had been found dead in a pool of its own blood. The husband continued to have nosebleeds and finally went to the doctor, where he was diagnosed with a very aggressive skin cancer. Oh, that's your mom's account. Okay, I'm sorry.
Are you all alone?
No. Hocus Pocus 2 premieres September 30th on Disney Plus. That is so exciting.
That's
Now
right
your
after
guest
Baby
host
Girl
is
turns a year old.
in on the shenanigans. She is in on the shenanigans because y'all are crazy.
Hey, ADHD here. It's easy to distract me.
Listen,
okay?
me too. That's why it gets sidetracked the way that it does. So, these stories have not just stated one specific location. They actually have been sightings all across the world. The Daily Star is a United Kingdom-based publication, and they have had 3 headlines regarding the black-eyed children. This leads us to our next story that is out of Norwich, England. It's okay. Now, I don't know if this is a publication site that's kind of like the ones here where they kind of have like fake news. There's a few, sitting at the front of the grocery stores that aren't really real. They kind of look like that way, but who knows? But this is one of their publications. I did try to go a little bit over to see if it was. Thank you for the follow, Snake Lover 90. I appreciate it. I know who that is.
Even I'm eatable. But that is called cannibalism, my dear children, and is in fact frowned upon in most societies.
I don't get why they're calling them ghost children, though.
I don't know. We'll get into that later because I don't necessarily think that they're ghost children.
Me either.
But there is definitely Amber has some black eyes.
Satan.
Oh, right? Snake Lover 90, are you related to Spitting Viper 90? Our kids are the spawn of Satan. No, they're not. You better shush your mouth.
There are. Well, the boys anyway.
Yeah. So, a psychic claims that she came face to face with the black-eyed children. She stated that they revealed that they are a ghoul that was a victim of dips. I have to sound this out, and I wrote out the pronunciation because I knew my ass was going to forget about it. Diphtheria outbreak in the 1800s. Christine,
You did what?
diphtheria. I listened to the pronunciation to make sure I said it right because I know I can't fucking pronounce any words. Not today, Satan.
Oh, my cat is attacking me. Sorry.
What? Diphtheria? That's what I said, I thought. Diphtheria? Diphtheria outbreak in the 1800s. Even I put the pronunciation and I still don't fucking get it. Christine Hamlet states that her special powers allows these ghosts to present themselves to her. Christine believes the ghosts are scaring locals because they have unfinished business. So she calls herself a rescue medium, and she believes the black-eyed children, which has been scaring people for over 30 years. She believes that they are the victim of a deadly plague that wiped out scores of people in the Victoria era. Diphtheria was also known for causing victims to suffer paralysis in their eyes, making their sockets appear to be sunken in. When she visited Cannock Chase, she supposedly photographed a black-eyed child on several occasions. So those are the pictures that are posted here. She stated that she felt like she was being transported back in time by the children who were leaning against a tree. Thank you for the biddies. One was even praying. If you look in the picture that is circled, well, the biddies in front of it right now. But once that goes away, it looks like it's sitting there praying. She stated...
Like a rock to me.
It looks like to what?
It looks like a rock to me.
It looked like a rock to me at first, too. I had to, like, really look at
Alrighty
it.
then.
Alrighty, then. You're out of channel points, so no more sound alerts from me. I'm back with more sound alerts. You're such an ass, young gun. You're so funny. So she stated, these spirits need my help. Black-eyed children ghosts are reportedly the bringers of bad news. So my advice would be not to interact with them unless you know what you're doing. I think they are spirits with unfinished business. They have a story to tell, and I feel that once they have said what they want to, they will be willing to pass to the other side. These children are troubled souls, and they don't hang around for long. When I work, I feel a presence, so I create an energy point and open my chakras and attempt to speak with them. She continued, in this case, I noticed a strange smell, and I felt like I was being taken back in time. I know it is a girl. I haven't managed to get anything more about her yet. I haven't decided if I will go back. I need to analyze my latest set of pictures first. And Christine wasn't the only one that have seen this little girl in this location. Reddit has a lot of black-eyed children stories. So this is actually where I pulled it from. And in this story, it's read by her. So I'm just going to read it off to you guys. How much you talk doesn't affect your channel points. I think that is true. I think it's just being in the chat. It affects your channel points. So
And make sure you click on your treasure box.
yeah, treasure box. Yep, click the treasure box.
The little green treasure box.
This episode should be sponsored by Taco Bell's Mexican Pizza. Toxic told me last night that it was back, and that's the first thing he got me today. Was a Mexican pizza. They've been gone for so long, and they're now back. Your husband says you're a treasure box Nazi. What type of treasure box are you talking about? Depending on how long it lasts, you may be eating one on stream. No, I won't. So let's get into this story. So it almost felt like a dream. I woke up to my dog Lucy barking. She was upright on the bed where my husband and I were sleeping with our 22-month-old daughter, staring at our door like an unknown stranger was out there rummaging around. I thought she was just freaking out over a house noise. We'd only had her for 3 months, and she was still a puppy. It could have been anything: a roommate, a creak from the house settling, an awning moving outside in the breeze. I wasn't too scared initially. I decided the best bet would to be open the door and show her nothing was there. It sounds a little bit silly, but it's what we do with our daughter when she gets scared, and I figured if it should work with a puppy, or if it should work on a baby, it should work on a puppy too. Look, said you're already making Stevie drink. No, I'm not. Am I making you drink?
Oh.
I decided, oh, sorry, I already read that. I opened the door and she raced to the front door. She stood there, snarling at the door. It was angry, violent growl. One I had never heard her make before. I looked groggy at her and opened the baby gate blocking the doorway, planning to open the door and show her everything was okay. The second my hand reached for the deadbolt, Lucy went wild. She suddenly changed her temper. She whimpered, almost like she was afraid and backing down. As her mannerisms changed, so did mine. I wasn't calm anymore. My heart was racing and sinking at the same time. I have been flooded with a mixture of fear and dread. I looked through the peephole. I can't explain why I looked, but I did. Outside were 2 kids. One was just a smidgen shorter than me and didn't look much younger. I'm 21. She looks about to be 16 or 17. She was slender and pale. Her hair was a light shade of honey blonde, and she wore it long, about mid-back, with long, thin, blunt bangs in the front that covered most of her eyes. She wore jeans, a light washed that was popular right now, and a thin-looking olive-colored pullover-style hoodie. She held the hand of a small girl who looked around 3 or 4 years old, in the same style of jeans and a button-down ivory cardigan. The smaller one looked at the the smaller one looked at the floor shyly, but had the same shade of hair, tied back in a ponytail. She held a stuffed toy under her free arm, and it was identical to the one my daughter has. It was their style of dress. Had it not been for the feeling of overwhelming dread or fear, I probably would have asked these children in and given them some tea or hot chocolate to get them out of the bitter cold. Something about them just seemed off. At this point, I hadn't made any noise. I hadn't shrugged the dog or grumbled. Nothing. I hadn't turned on any lights. These kids had no indicator that I was at the door. The older one spoke. She had a voice that was mature, confident, strong, and accentless. She held her head tilted downward, and I couldn't see her eyes. She said, "We have to use your phone." I stood frozen in fear. How did she know I was there? She raised her head to face me directly, and that is when I saw her eyes. There was a reason I couldn't see them. Through her bangs before, they were black, or midnight blue, or dark purple. They were otherworldly, she said. Our mother is so worried. As someone who has always been interested in creepy stories, I knew what she was the second she looked at me through the door. I have never been one to believe in these things. I'm an atheist and a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal. I have written off many ghost stories from friends and family members eager to tell me their tale. I don't believe. Still, I couldn't rationalize the way out of this. I was standing with nothing but a thin wooden door between me and a black eyed child. They were There was no questioning what was right in front of me. I didn't answer. Slowly and silently, I backed away from the door. Lucy was still cowering at my ankles. She kept talking. Just let us in and use your phone. I took another step back, and with a step, the tone changed. At first, she seemed polite. Then I took a second step back. She became commanding, almost hostile. We're not going to hurt you. If we wanted to do that, we would have broken in. I'll ask again. May we come in and use your phone? Lucy snarled at the door, and I inched back through some thing inside me seemed to be slowly pulling me back towards the door. It wasn't a physical pull so much as a subconscious need to go back and let them in. I got to my room, covered up the window, locked the door, and sat there in the dim light of the night. I heard her call me back to the door once more, and then quiet. I didn't go back to sleep that night, and I haven't slept right since. I know from reading about them that BEKs just can't... Oh, nice. Thank you. I know from reading about them that BEKs can't just come in without permission. I know they haven't hurt anyone, but I still fear I'd be the exception. When I told my husband, he said it was just a dream. He kept telling me to forget it, but it was still lingering feeling of sadness. This dread when the house is silent at night, this fear of a knock on the door, this tells me otherwise. So this one was kind of creepy. I gotta go back.
I've heard this one before.
You did?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go back to sleep either if I had that going on. I get nervous just from regular people knocking on my door that I don't know. So
exactly, right? I don't answer the door if I don't have to.
I made David answer it.
Save. I let Ryan answer.
I'm like, I don't know who they are. You can get it.
I have one. You have one what? It goes... It's my go-to MNP. What? I'm so confused on what they're talking about.
You miss a lot of chat during that
story. Are they
story.
talking about wigs? Oh, they're talking about guns. Okay, so what we're gonna watch now, and it's gonna kind of creep me out because it's starting to get dark out here. I don't know about where you're at just yet, but I watched this during the daytime, and I was freaked the F out. Whether or not it's real or not, it's still creepy AF. So, so our next story is going to be, it's called Halloween, and it's by Sarah Beth 11. And this is her story. So she says, let me preface this by saying I'm by no means a writer, just a domestic engineer living in North Texas. She lives by you.
Better not live by me.
I gotta keep Gabe and Eden away from this. It's so comfy. They're gonna both be trying to steal it. Nope.
I would steal it too, but you're not close enough.
Also, I don't believe in the paranormal, ghosts, demons, aliens, whatever. However, I did have an event happen to me this Halloween, I have to admit, has me scratching my head. This is my first post on Reddit, and sorry to say, I've never even heard about it until yesterday. I told my best friend about my incident, and she is an avid reader of No Sleep, and she told me if I didn't post it, she would. So here I am. Anyways, hope you guys like it. So, it has been a slow trick-or-treat night in our neighborhood that evening, which is pretty odd in itself. We usually have kids from different areas dropped off in ours and have a constant parade at our door. That night, I'd say we had no more than 8 or 10 groups of kids come by the entire night. It was about 9:30 and my husband and I were sitting in our family room watching some of the ghost shows based on actual events. She goes, actual events. Like I said, I don't believe in that stuff, but I do like a good ghost story now and then. And it was Halloween and all. We hadn't...
It's even creepier around Halloween.
Right? We hadn't had any activity at the door in over a half an hour, and it was getting late, so we decided to turn the porch light off and let our dog Chloe out of her crate. Chloe is an American bulldog and is very docile. We only put her in her crate because we're afraid she'll try and get out to play with all the kids, and I didn't want to have to chase her after her down the street. Also, we didn't want her to scare any of the kids because she would have looked a little intimidating to younger children. Those are brown. What is a coincidence? I just dropped my children off. Mr. Hickey's, if you would. Mr. Hickey's children. Well, hello there, young gun. How are you? So, I turned the outside light off. I let Chloe out, and she followed me back to the couch and laid down at my feet. It was getting close to 10 when my husband decided he had enough fun for the night and was going to go upstairs, take a shower, and get ready for bed. After all, it was a Thursday, and he still had to get up early the next day.
I sent a photo of my black-eyed child to your Discord, Sid. You should look at it.
Hold on. He's so... I'm gonna fuck you up.
You hear your shit?
No, I'm not even paying attention.
Oh, you thought I was gone. I was gonna get you good.
No, I didn't think you were gone. Goodbye. He's so cute, though. He was so little.
Yeah, I was trying to take a picture of him, and I got that, and I was like, yeah. How oldest is a spawn of Satan?
He likes butts. Oh my goodness.
If you want to show everybody that picture, I don't care. I just can't post it in the chat, so.
Uh-oh. Hold on one second.
I'm not the only one sending you stuff in Discord.
I know. Thank you, young gun. I appreciate it. Hold on. Let's go back here. I'll post it here. I should be able to... Oh, I guess I have to...
Are you all alone?
I am now. Thank you for following, Mahoshi.
It says Spooketeer, then it says Spookster. Like, he's a spookster.
He is a spookster. He is so cute. He's not that little anymore.
Oh, but he's still just as evil. That's my black-eyed child.
The firstborns are always little demon children, aren't they? Say hi, everyone. Okay, let's get back into this. Now you need to be okay. Okay.
You know, he could probably fit in that Snuggie with you.
He probably would. It would be a good kangaroo pouch.
Ready? I'm gonna need mine.
It's
Don't
our
be a pretty girl.
time for BBs. Oh my goodness, look at that dress. She looks so cute. Aw, Erin. She's so adorable. It's funny because, you know, about an hour in, we're always stuck holding the babies. Not stuck, but you know what I mean. So, let's go ahead. He'd be too hot. Yeah, he would be too hot. He's just interested in whatever everything going on. So, let's get back into this. So, after all, it was Thursday and he had to get up early the next day. My teenage son was out with his friends at a local haunted house. It wasn't expected back for another hour or so. So that left me alone on the couch with Chloe. Now, just because I don't believe, it doesn't mean those shows don't freak me out a little bit. And being alone now watching, I have to say, I was kind of on edge. It wasn't long after I heard the upstairs water for the shower turn on when there came a light knock, knock, knock at the front door. My initial reaction was, what the hell? Really? It's almost 10 o'clock. Go home. But soon, an uneasy feeling came over me. Why the knock? Our doorbell glows, and it's dark, and without the porch light on, it would be extra obvious to anyone there. I paused. I couldn't really just ignore it. Our front door had a big bezeled glass panel, and anyone right at the door could see in enough to see if someone sitting was in the family room watching TV. It would be pretty rude for me to just sit there and not answer it. Knock, 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 again from the door. I glanced down at Chloe and she was gone. My gaze followed her usual path to the front door, expecting her to be on her way there as she normally does. Nothing. She wasn't there. Did you say your doorbell blows? Yeah, it does. I stood up and looked around the room better and found her crouching by the back door like she was wanting out. However, she never asked to go out like that. She always comes and licks my hand or puts her head on my knee. This was totally out of character for her, and I have to say, heightened my anxiety. Chloe, great, I said. She turned back to me, and she was like, hell no, lady, I ain't moving. I yelled up to my husband, but he was already in the shower. I knew there was no chance of him hearing me. Knock, knock, knock. About that time, a car drove down our street and casted just enough light on the door to where I could see the silhouettes of two small children through the glass. I instantly felt relieved. It was just some kids, probably a couple of my neighbors on their way back home that wanted to stop by and show me their costumes or something. I headed to the door and looked back to make sure Chloe wasn't going to follow. What a great watchdog, I thought to myself as she just sat there. I turned on the porch light when I got to the door, and sure enough, I could see through the glass that it was a couple of pretty small kids. A little late for such young ones, I thought, and I began to wonder about what kind of parents would let their kids run the streets that late at night. I only opened the door enough to where I could block Chloe's escape if she decided to grow some balls, which was only about 2 feet. She struck me immediately as odd. What struck me immediately as odd was the kids weren't wearing any costumes. They were in normal street clothes. Also, no customary trick-or-treat either. I began to feel very uneasy again. It was a girl and a boy. The girl to my left was older, but I'd say about 11 or 12. I could tell she was blonde, but I couldn't make out any distinct features as the lights are from high above and on a column of a front porch. So the most of the light was coming from behind them. I had not opened the door wide enough for any of the inside light to hit them directly. The boy was younger and about a foot shorter, I'd say 8 or 9, and looked to have light brown hair. A girl very politely spoke up. Ma'am, could we please come inside and use your phone to call our mom? As she spoke, something in the pit of my stomach was telling me something was wrong. What kid, even at that age, doesn't have a cell phone of their own these days? I couldn't remember the last time I had anyone asked to use my home phone. Hun, don't you have a phone of your own you can call your mom on? I asked. This was when things got really weird. Both kids turned to look at one another like they were going to say something, but neither of them spoke. They both turned back at me, and the girl says, Ma'am, my cell phone battery doesn't have any charge left in it. Can we please come inside and call our mother? We're alone out here and my brother is scared. I have to admit, there were two competing feelings going on inside me. The first of that of mother's heart that wanted to help these two small children get to their mom. The other, a seeking fear in my gut that was keeping the other feeling at bay. It was then I noticed that during the short conversation, I already opened the door a few extra inches, which I was completely unaware of doing. I stopped. Honey, why don't you give me your mother's number and I can call her myself? Another pause, and then again they looked at one another. After a short moment, they turned back to me, and the girl said, Ma'am, my little brother has to use your bathroom. Can we please come inside while you call our mom? And with that last statement, the little girl moved closer towards the door like she was going to walk on in by me. As she did, she stepped into the light coming from inside the house, and I got my first real look at her. Solid black eyes. That's all I could see. The mother's instinct was gone and replaced by terror. I don't think I ever felt this in my life. I could have felt every hair on my arm and back of my neck standing at attention. I closed the door to where just my face was able to stick out. The little girl stopped and again pleaded, Please, ma'am, we're really scared and alone out here. We have to come inside. Please help us. Then, like on cue, both kids began to whimper and cry. That's when the fear took over and I shut and locked the door. I'll call your mom from if you give me the number, I shouted through the door, but I'm not letting you in my house. I could still see them standing there on the porch, just staring at me through the beveled glass pane. Part of me wanted to run upstairs to my husband, but the bigger part didn't want to lose track of where they were. That would just freak me out even more, not knowing where they were. After what seemed like forever, but probably only a few seconds, I decided to call my neighbor that lives across the street. As I made my way to the side table by our couch to my phone, I glanced at the back door. Chloe was nowhere to be found. We later found her in our guest's bedroom underneath the bed. When I got my phone and started to look for the contact info, it was only then the kids stepped away from the door and began to walk the street. As they did, I walked to the door to get a better look, to see where they went, still not calling my neighbor. Or if you get close enough to the glass, you can see out enough to make out people's shapes, but you can see much detail. Of course, standing that close to the door would make you pretty obvious to anyone outside looking in. From the door, I could see that the kids were still standing under the street lamp near my house, staring at me. As I lifted the phone to my ear after calling, only then did the kids start walking down the street. I met my neighbor out underneath the lamp once he was out there, but the kids were nowhere to be seen. Like I said, I don't believe in any of this stuff, and I've never even heard about black-eyed kids before talking to my friend. What I have to think, is these kids were just out yanking people's chains on Halloween night. But I will say this for them. They were good. Really good at it. They scared the shit out of me and my dog. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, my kids, Gabriel had a phone, but he had it because he goes back and forth between dad's and my house. So I allowed him to have a phone, and then he got it taken away fairly quickly. My kids aren't responsible enough either, but my mom got my oldest a phone. I think she wants her daddy. Is she trying to pull the headset off of you too, like she does dad?
Yeah.
So I have a few more stories. I'm probably going to go over like maybe one more. Let's see here. Which one do we want to go over? Okay. So I kept the picture of of him on the screen instead of changing it earlier.
That's okay. He's just as scared.
No, he's not. So, our last story for the night is called Every Story I've Read About Them is from Someone Who Already Knew About Them by No Sleep Trash. Well, thank you for staying, Mad Nines. I appreciate it. So last night was like any other night. I switching between listening to music and watching YouTube videos with one headphone in so I could hear my infant daughter if she cries. That way my wife could get a full night's sleep. She works at 4 a.m. at the hospital every day. When I decided to go lay down in the spare bedroom with the baby, I just as I dozed off, I heard a thumping coming from the front porch. Startled at first, I opened my eyes wide and scanned the room. Realizing it was most likely my cat scratching himself on the front porch, I went back to sleep. Then again, thump. Damn, cat. I got out of bed to run him off the porch, only to see he wasn't there anymore. Now that I was up again, I wasn't the least bit tired. I figured I'd just get some tea and check Facebook while I was up. Maybe finish the web series I was watching on YouTube. A few minutes into the video, I felt the sudden urge to look up at the kitchen window. There they were. The tops of two short-statured people, heads crusting... He's pooping on me. Crusting the stairs just above my window frame. The people were short enough not to see the window, but I could see out. I heard no footsteps on my perch as my stomach turned. Hey, Blitz! Thank you so much for the biddies. Get that shit on. Get shit on. Get shit on. Get shit on. You're trash. Oh my goodness. The very same thump I had just blamed my cat. Deciding it was best not to answer, I shut my laptop and crept by the door back to the baby's room. I assumed it was some of the people from the low-income housing across the road from me that were high or hiding from the cops or maybe looking for my cousin who stays with me often and has many friends over here. The last thing I need was to try to explain to two stoners that I was trying to sleep even though it was 2 a.m. It wasn't until I got my daughter's room that the creepiness set in. The thumping had moved from the kitchen to the bedroom windows, both windows, a room apart, thumping in perfect time. These stoners were going to wake up my daughter if I didn't run them off now. Pissed off, I went out to the kitchen, unlocked and opened the door, ready to run out the side of my house and kick some little idiot's ass. It's when then, standing there looking at me, were two 10 or 11-year-old boys. The feeling of dread and the smell of mold almost made me vomit. The smaller of the two then spoke. "May we use your telegraph?" Huh? I just stared blankly at these boys, horrified by what I then realized their eyes were pitch black. He asked again to use my telegraph. There wasn't a sound to be heard. No crickets chirping, no dogs barking, no cars driving, nothing. I tried to play cool and ignore the fact that he didn't call it a telephone or a phone or a cell, anything that would have made any sense of the situation, and calmly replied, "I don't have service at my house, sorry." The expressions on their faces turned to rage as I finished my sentence. Swiftly, I shut the door and locked it as quickly as I could, then stumbled back to protect my daughter. I picked her up from her crib and held her close. The fact that she didn't wake up freaked me out the most, but I managed to gather my senses enough to make sure she was still breathing and warm. Everything seemed okay with her. The thumping on the windows was back. I dropped to the floor as close to the wall as I could and held my little girl in my arms and wept like a child. I felt helpless and afraid. I lied there for what felt like hours and crying and shaking until I heard it. My wife's alarm clock. The thumping stopped the instant the alarm went off, and I crept into the master bedroom with the baby. "What's wrong with you?" my wife asked. "I just had a bad dream," is all I could mutter out. "Okay, well, give me the baby so I can feed her before work." I handed my wife the baby, and she fed her like any normal day. I turned on every light in the house and made coffee for her. For some reason, just having her awake calmed my nerves enough to pretend like nothing happened. I walked her out to her car nervously with the baby in my arms, and I asked her not to leave until I walked back into the house. She was put off by the request, but did so to humor me. Once I was safely in the house, I locked the door again, and in the house I sat horrified until she got home. I insisted we go to the next town over and stay the weekend at my brother's house, and here I sit horrified while she sleeps in the guest room with my daughter, wondering why they stopped when the alarm went off. I think I know the answer. I was aware of BEKs, but she wasn't. Every story I've read about them is from someone who already knew about them. Maybe, just maybe, knowledge of them existing is the only reason they visit. I'm afraid, and I'm sorry. So kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So do you?
I don't know. I would be just as scared for my kids if that happened.
Exactly. Hell yeah, I would be. You know, I've been afraid that every night since I've been doing this research, like, one's gonna be, like, coming to my house.
I just literally put that in the chat. Maybe now that we know, we'll be visited.
Exactly. Do you have any
Hey, I'm from
stories
the
that I
country.
haven't gone over?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't remember if you went over the one where the husband's nose started to bleed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There was one where the wife and the children, I think it was, got stabbed to death by the two of them.
Oh, really?
They had let them in the house, and when she came back with the phone, they had gone missing, or when he came back with it, and heard his wife screaming, and then saw the two children go into the kids' room and shut the door before he can get in there, and had to listen helplessly as his kids were screaming. And then when he got the door open, the two kids stood there with these like evil grins on their faces and were just like covered in blood.
Ooh, my goodness. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Did you know that they were in an episode of Doctor Who? No, I did not. I did not know that.
Neither did I.
I have watched some of the Doctor Who's, not all of them yet.
I don't know. Is that the one that they were asking, "Are you my mother?"
This is so scary. Papa Joe, hello. How are you doing? Yes, he said.
Okay, so yeah, I've seen that one then.
What are you doing over here, sir? You trying to talk? Trying to poop at the same time? So, before we end, just kind of want to go over a few brief beliefs on what they are. So the first one is that...
Man, I hope we solve this mystery.
The first one is that they are vampires. Your thoughts may have jumped to vampires because they're most active at night and can only hear a room, or only can't enter a room without permission. But mine didn't jump to that. The next common theory is BEKs are demonic presence. This theory has the least amount of information or evidence behind it. Besides being maleficent, there is little connection between the BEKs and demonic beings. Again, they only show one similarity, and it would be the power of having to be invited in. The final theory would be that they're aliens or extraterrestrial beings. The strongest connection between the BEKs and extraterrestrials is the presence of literal men in black, as seen in the anonymous women's encounter. The cutting of power and the rampant health problems also align with people known to have endured close encounters with alien beings. So which one do you think it is?
Going back and forth between two different ones, between demons and aliens. That's why I was making a joke earlier. They're demonic aliens. That's what they are.
I think so too. I don't necessarily think that they're strictly demonic. I don't think that they're necessarily strictly aliens. I don't know how I feel about it, but either, yeah. Either way, they're evil. Exactly. Lawful
Well,
evil.
I was gonna say maybe they're kind of like hellhounds where there's different types, maybe. I don't know, but I know for sure some of them are evil.
I think they're all evil.
Yeah.
But as we stated before, black-eyed children really only show themselves to believers or people who have heard of them previously. There aren't really any documented encounters where people have never heard of them before seeing them. Good luck. One of you might be lucky enough to have an encounter yourself. I believe they're born out of... Oh my goodness. Oh goodness.
So in other words, they're like the children of the corn.
They're like the Slick 10 kids, I tell you. No, they're children that have had their souls stolen by the devil. They are caught between heaven and hell. Do you think so?
I just think they're like Satan's children possessing kids' bodies. Because it's just creepier when a kid tries to kill you than it is if an adult tries to kill you.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I don't know
And
exactly
they feed
what
off
it
the
is.
fear, you know?
But the why, my biggest question, like, I didn't think that demonic energies could have to ask you to be invited in.
It's not so much you ask them, but there's always some way where they say there was something that you opened, that you did, or that you showed that gave the thing. I don't know what they call it, but it's like you're inviting them in, or like you're making them feel like they can be there. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Game and Watch Bros, you better watch yourself because me and your wife are millennials. Are you talking about Gen Zs? The new aged millennials? The one that's eating Tide Pods? Yeah, that's why I said malice. The malice can manifest as a demon. You like Papa Joe's take? I'm leaning more towards Papa Joe than anything. His take. Maybe Viper. They may be Slick 10's children.
Well, yeah, I got proof that one of mine are. And he still sneaks around at night.
Mine does
without
too.
hearing him.
Like
You can't hear him either. He's like a ninja.
Yes, and then like my biggest thing is like my children, they'll come into the room and they'll just stand by the bed. They won't say anything. And like you'll wake up because of their presence and all of a sudden you're scared.
So yours are standing there, but it's mine actually get into the bed without you feeling them, and you'll wake up because you accidentally kicked them because they're at the foot of your bed just laying there.
Oh gosh. I used to do that to my mom. I used to sneak in her bed and I would lay in the bottom of her bed so that way I wouldn't wake them up and they would have to tell me to go.
Apparently, I slept walk into my parents' room a couple times and scared the shit out of my parents. My mom said she woke up one night and I was standing at the foot of the bed just staring at her.
Dude,
and then
you
my
are
dad
going
said,
ham.
My dad said he almost punched me because he woke up and I was actually next to the bed looking down at him. So, but that was also in the same house that was haunted growing up. So, you know, who knows what was going on.
Yeah. You just ate your Mexican pizza? I'm jealous.
Me too. I don't even know if I've ever had a Mexican pizza.
They're so freaking good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, Stevie, I appreciate you coming back on. It was fun. This one didn't have really much information behind it. It's just more of like encounters. So I figured it would be cool to do one that had like, you know, stories.